Hi boys and girls, and welcome to the last in the series of the FCE CAE speaking videos. This is the part 4 part of the exam. That's when the examiner says at the end of this, that's the end of the test. You can leave, go to the pub, get drunk, do what you want because it's over. But until then, we need to make sure that we complete part 4 and do it properly. So what is it about? Well, it's quite simple. It's 4 minutes and it's a sort of three-way. Nothing sexual in this. You're not going to do anything naughty with the examiners. Trust me, you don't want to. So what will happen is that the examiner can ask candidate A, blah, 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 and why. And then I can say, well, okay, next question for you. Or I can say, okay, candidate A, blah, 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 what do you think? But candidate B can come in and also talk if they want. It's not a problem. Don't interrupt, but you can add something. Or I could ask a question to candidate A and say, well, what do you think about that? So it's kind of like a sort of three-way discussion, so to speak. Now, when you look at the videos on YouTube, other YouTube videos, you often won't see other candidates coming in. So it's kind of almost identical to FCE CAE Speaking Part 1. Okay, but anyway, the point is that that does exist. Now, the questions in Part 4 are related in topic to what you just did in Part 3. So that kind of partner discussion thing, the collaborative task. So if that task was about finance, your questions are going to be related to finance. If in Part 3 your collaborative task was about the environment, your questions are going to be about the environment. So this part is not so difficult for the reason being that the questions are more relevant. In Part 1 the questions are weird. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? What makes a good friend? But because these questions are quite topical, not always, but quite topical, students sort of know what to say a bit more. So we don't have problems with this part so much. But we need to remember a few points that we don't mess up the exam. Number 1, when you give your opinion, always give a reason. Now in Russia, they often say this word because. Why do you think so? Because. Kiss my ass with that answer, because I want a reason. If you come to my exam and say, because I'm going to make you suffer, so you will go to the pub afterwards and drink a lot. Now, the length. Quite simply, say 1 or 2 sentences, like in Part 1. If you speak too much, the examiner will stop you. It's not a problem. But make sure that in that time, you answer that question and show that range and accuracy of vocab and grammar. Now, again, be relevant. I've said this in every video because so many students go off on a wrong track. You've got to make sure you answer that question. Range of language. This is important because I want to know that if I'm going to ask you questions related to finance or environment or let's say the weather or traveling, I want to hear vocab related to that. So like I said in my video for the Part 3 for FCE and CAE, you've got to make sure that you study your vocab books, that you go online to BBC or whatever website, you read news from different areas. You know, don't just spend your 9 months reading Harry Potter books. They're nice, but you need different genres of English because you don't know what you're going to be asked. You need to show at least some grasp of some functional vocabulary for particular topics. If you don't, I'm going to bring your range of vocab right down. Listen to your partner. Now, of course it sounds obvious because sometimes when you're at the end of the exam, you're tired, you're like, oh God, when is it over? And you could be drifting off to sleep or you're like losing focus, and the examiner might ask candidate A, let's say, is it good to work on weekends? Okay, what do you think? Blah, 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 blah. And candidate B is like, yeah, whatever. And you? Shit, yes, I like sandwiches. Anyway, so make sure you always you're listening, you're completely aware, because it's only 4 minutes, it's almost done, then you can go and do what you want. I mean, the examiners don't care if you die as soon as you get out of the exam room, because they've done their task and you've done yours. Let's hope that never happens. Now, let's go through some example questions, what you could possibly be asked. Now this is taken from a trainer and the questions are related to finance. I'll read them to you. People often help by giving their time, not money. Is this a good idea? How often have you thought about that? I never have. How important do you think money is for a happy life? I've thought about that sometimes. Do you think it's better to give money to local or international organisations? I've never thought about that, but I have to answer it. Now, if we go to the first one, people often help by giving their time, not money. Is this a good idea? I immediately think of a reference. I try to think about myself, not about the world in general. I'll start off with that. I could say, for a nice answer, because I don't want to repeat the vocab from the question, because I explained that in my previous videos. It's the same here. I could say, I would say that if people want to give their time to something, it's their personal choice. But of course, I need personally monetary rewards. I need to kind of get some kind of financial gain from what I'm doing, because I have a family to feed. I have costs to pay for, such as mortgages, electricity, gas. I don't understand why people could constantly give their time for something unless they're super rich or lived within a very generous, wealthy family. Fine. How important do you think money is for a happy life? Have you thought about that? How important is money for a happy life? Okay, possible answer. I suppose I would have to say that it's quite crucial, because people say, money doesn't buy you happiness, but essentially money makes the world go round. We need money to live. When we have a decent amount of money that we can live comfortably, then I personally think we're quite happy then. I don't understand how someone can be poor living in a bus stop and, constantly cheerful. I don't get it. Perfect. I even use an idiom in that expression, in that answer. Okay. Do you think it's better to give money to local or international organisations? Let's finish by saying, honestly, I don't care, because it's something I never thought about. I don't like to give my money to international organisations because I don't think it gets spent in the right place. As for local organisations, it doesn't get spent on the things that I think it should get spent on, such as schools, repairing the roads. Actually, that was a fantastic answer. I'm quite proud of myself. But do you understand the idea of how you should be answering? Don't repeat from the question. Try to be as natural. Well, I suppose if I had to say, I guess I would. Things like this. This is what you want. And, throw in some, sort of functional vocab. It's very, very important. Now, again, what I'll do is, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, I'll put a video together of some people doing an FCE exam, and I'll show you ways how to get it wrong and to get it right. Okay? I hope that was useful for you. That's the end of the FCE CAE Speaking series of videos. Please give a thumbs up, subscribe, tell all your best friends around the world, Eskimos, doesn't matter. So, see you later. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.